All right. Welcome back to another week of beautiful NFL football. We're on week 16. The NFL is chaos, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Teams are still getting upset. The Cowboys lost to the Jaguars. We're going to talk all that and so much more. We're going to get you ready for week 16. A lot of playoff teams in, out. We don't know. We're going to find out. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We got a special guest this week. We're joined by Tony Steggs from the Skull Purple podcast. So stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button. It's Nickel and Don. Tony, thank you so much for joining us, man. Viking fan in the house. It's nice to have someone outside of the NFC South with us. Nice to get a new perspective, if you will, from the fandom territory. But how you feeling? I mean, did you have to have a defibrillator standing by for you guys' week 15 game?
Yeah, man. Well, first off, thanks for having me, Drew.
Oh, of
Really
course.
appreciate it. Big fan, of course.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was an interesting weekend, that's for sure. I'm going to be honest with you. If I was not running a Vikings podcast, not sure I would have watched that whole game. Of course, I'm very thankful that I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, at about halftime, I got with my co-host and we were texting back and forth. Actually, we were on Twitter doing a live thing, and we had talked about just doing a fan line right at halftime. And I told him, I'm like, no, because if there's anything weird that happens, we got to talk about it. And
Yeah.
thank goodness we did. But yes, I am currently sending out a petition for the team to start subsidizing Lipitor for all of our fans.
That's fair.
So,
That's fair.
so yeah,
Nice. Well, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Thank you so much for stepping in. Our lovely co-host Shawn Sudler is on vacation with his family, celebrating the holidays. So shout out to Suds. We miss you, buddy. But Tony is stepping in for him graciously this week. So let's go ahead and get into our Week 15 recap. Got to start off with Thursday night football, man. 49ers get a huge divisional win against the Seahawks.
yeah, man. Big win for the Seahawks. Or excuse me, it was San Francisco Seahawks, wasn't it? So yeah, big win for
Yeah.
San Francisco. I'm thinking to myself, wait a second, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Obviously, the Seahawks are clinging to life. The Niners look scary. I just think the
They do.
wild card with the Niners, and this is low hanging fruit here, is Purdy, right? Can
Right.
Purdy continue to look like a steal where he was taken, which was Mr. Irrelevant, last in the draft? It's a great storyline. Um, I'm a little jaded, of course, because I think that the NFL likes to push these a little bit. So I don't know if he's for real
Gotta have a
or if it's just
backstory.
something cute. Yeah, you got to
Can't
have a
can't be a
backstory.
star in this league without a backstory. Come on now.
Exactly. Who wants Baker Mayfield to succeed?
Well,
Uh,
he did not.
So yeah, I just think that was it was an interesting game. I'd really love to hear your take, and I've been waiting all week to talk to you about this, Drew. How are you feeling as a Carolina fan watching McCaffrey do what he's done? Do you feel a little like a scorned lover, or is it like, look, this guy's talented, do what you got to do?
Complete opposite, man. I am the proud ex. I am, go shine, CMC. I love it.
Yeah, like my
Uh,
wife slept with Ryan Reynolds, so that way to go, babe.
right. Good for you. Like I'm proud of you. 108 yards and a touchdown. Just San Francisco's using him, and it's great. And he's not getting run into the ground. So I appreciate that, man. Like it's one of those where we broke up because we knew we were toxic for each other. So I'm
Sure.
happy that you're shining. So I love to see it. I mean, of course, if we do build up our team and become a playoff team once again and get beat by them in the playoffs, then I might sing a different song. But for right now, I'm proud of him. I'm glad he's shining, and like you said, this 49ers team is scary.
Yeah. Well, as a Vikings fan that's looking at the playoffs now, I'll be honest. I don't want to face the Niners. I don't want to face the Cowboys. I know we'll be talking about a few other teams. I basically don't want to face anybody. I just want to buy until the Super Bowl. Is
That's
that
fair.
possible? I don't
Yeah, yeah,
know.
sure, sure. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and talk about it. Next up on our recap, Vikings have historic comeback versus the Colts. If you're Matt Ryan, you've now been on the bad end of the worst comeback in Super Bowl history and regular season history.
Yeah. Yeah. Matt Ryan is. I kind of have a feeling that Matt Ryan might be doing Campbell Soup commercials next year. I don't
I
know
don't see him
how
coming back
you
from this.
how can you come back from it? And the thing is, it's not really on Matt Ryan. I don't think.
Right.
I think it's a little bit on coaching. And, not to take anything away from my squad, a lot of things had to go right, and a lot of things did go right. And they played well. These guys played their hearts out. I mean, it was crazy to watch live because there was at least three or four players. Patrick Peterson, Christian Darrisaw, left tackle. I think even Jefferson, another one of our receivers, KJ Osborne, all went down at some point in the fourth quarter with
Yeah.
cramps because it was just these guys are gassed. I mean,
Yeah.
you go into halftime going, okay, so we just get a couple of scores, like five,
Start
and then
chipping
we
away.
should be
Chip,
fine.
chip away. Chip away. But
So
no,
it
is that
was
a
wild.
is that a huge shot in the arm as a Vikings fan to be on the good end of that ridiculous comeback?
I think so. And I think what helps, and this is one thing I've told our listeners on our podcast and just people around me, is that I think the extra day helps. I'd be a little worried,
Love
and
Saturday
not to
football.
say that I'm not entirely not worried, but there you obviously have a game like that. You tend to have that hangover, and I think with that extra day, it just gives them a little more time to regroup, obviously recover with them playing on Saturday. So, yeah, obviously a big matchup this weekend. But yeah, I think it's a good win for the team. It was a win that they earned versus maybe backing in
The
where
other team
there's
messing
a
up.
yeah, you know what I mean. I guess you could say the Colts messed up in the second half, but yeah, it was quite the ride.
But I mean, they didn't hand it to you by any means. You had, like you said, your
No,
team had to execute, and you did.
yeah, yeah, it was just insane.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
no, riding high as a Viking fan this week for sure.
Well, stay tuned because I got a feeling I know who Tony's matchup's gonna be. So lock in with us. Next up on the docket, Bills take care of the Dolphins in a lovely snow game. Love the snow game. Shout out real quick to the Bills like grounds crew for the transformation they did on that stadium prior to the game. But Allen 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, 77 rushing yards. Again, we've said it before on this podcast. We'll get Tony's take on this in just a second. Little concerning that Allen is leading the team in rushing week after week after week. But yeah, how did you feel about this game?
Yeah, obviously big win for the Bills. And big loss for the Dolphins. I mean, the Dolphins, by all accounts, I felt like they would not be 8-5 at this point.
Right.
So and obviously they've lost to some good teams, my team included. But but ultimately, right, I just felt like this team was trending in a direction where they weren't going to be flirting with 500. And I get that we still have three more games to play, and
Thank good.
hey,
Thankful.
maybe they win the next three, right?
Yeah.
And it's 11-5, right? Like I don't know, but I just think at the end of the day, Tua has regressed a little bit back to the mean. I think that offense, look, these defensive coordinators make a ton of money for a reason. And it's their job to figure out other teams' offenses and how to beat them, how to stop them. And I just think they've been figured out a little bit. And it's up to
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel to basically have a counterpunch, much like the Vikings have faced in the last, 3 or 4 weeks, where I feel like teams have started to figure out the Vikings offense with Kevin
Yeah.
O'Connell, first year coach. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that it's more than it's a big win for the Bills. I think it's a bigger loss for the Dolphins.
That's fair. A little shining light in their loss. Mostert had 136 yards on the ground, so that's pretty
Ooh,
huge. Going
yeah.
against a
And
team
to
who
your
can't get
point,
anything on the ground.
you mentioned this, and I didn't want to just breeze over it. You're talking about the rushing factor with Buffalo.
Yeah,
I, for whatever reason, I don't know why, I really like Devin Singletary. I have
yeah,
drafted Devin
same.
Singletary
He's
in
been on
my
my team.
fantasy
Yep,
teams the last 2 years
same.
because every time I watch him, he looks like he's got speed. He looks like he's
He's got the
aggressive.
power. Yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know if they're just not using him properly, but I will fully admit I don't watch all the Bills games. So
yeah.
there could be games where he just looks like trash that I don't know, and he just plays up for the nationally televised games. I have no idea.
Well, I feel like a lot of it has to do with they just don't try. Like there's a lot of times where
Yeah.
I'll look at the stat sheet and he got 6 carries. And you're like,
Yeah.
what? Like you just didn't even care. You're like, just let
Right.
Josh Allen drop back. He'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe he goes for like, 2 yards, 1 yard, -2, 3 yards, and they're just like, we
Yeah.
don't have time for this.
Nope.
Yeah.
We're passing from here on out. Josh will run it when he sees fit.
It's Dawson Knox time.
Yeah. Which touchdown this week? That's you don't see that much. So he's another one that I look at. And I'm like, why are you not better?
Yeah,
Like
right.
statistically speaking.
Yeah, that hair is amazing. What's with the
Yeah.
tight ends and the hair these days?
I'm
That
loving
seems
it
the
as
theme.
a fellow flow
Yeah.
connoisseur. I love to see it. Love to see it.
Long hair don't care. Love it.
Don't care. You know who don't care anymore is Mr. Campbell and those Lions because they keep winning. Get a solid win versus the Jets. Jared Goff, 252 yards and a touchdown. Also, Mr. I think it was Raymond, the wide receiver, with the punt return. So 2
Yeah.
touchdowns and 2 field goals gets it done against the Zach Wilson led Jets.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, obviously as an NFC North foe and a team that just beat us 2 weeks ago, big win for the Lions. Drew, you and I talked about this team way back. I think it was
Yeah,
week 2, week 3, and we said it then. I think this team has talent. I like Dan Campbell. I think he's good for the league. I think he's good for the Lions.
same.
Again, as a Vikings fan, I don't want to see them
Yeah.
hurt my
Like,
team,
calm down, all right?
but
We're
but
pulling for you, but not that much.
exactly. And if it's not my team, I have no problem pulling for the Lions. Like I'm totally honest here. If the Vikings and the Lions somehow make the playoffs and the Vikings just take a big old dump at the 50 and the Lions, make some noise, dude, I will be a Lions fan. I'm not buying a jersey, but
Right,
I'll
right,
be a
right, right, right.
Lions fan.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, they've got, yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown. You've got Jamal
Who
Williams.
I bowed out of the
Yeah.
playoffs this week, but St. Brown was a big reason I got there in the first place.
Oh, he's been phenomenal. So in one of my leagues, I'm still alive. I've got Justin Jefferson and St. Brown,
Oh,
and they've been just
I got
taking
CMC and
down
St. Brown,
clubs.
and then I got
Woo.
Jefferson in another league. So it's been good. Been good year.
Yeah, so I'm loving the Lions. Obviously, big win against the Jets. I will say this much though. Um, I think if Mike White starts, Jets might have won that game.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Stay tuned for housekeeping notes. Got you an update coming from the Jets QB room. The upset of the week, possibly. Jaguars stun the Cowboys. Oh, Trevor Lawrence. Is he coming into his own? 318 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, but man was slinging.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Drew, but I have slowly and surely uh become a bit of a Trevor Lawrence fan.
Duval. Yeah, I've become a
Yeah,
Jaguars fan. I like it. I like ETN.
I'm
I
t-
like him.
yeah.
Zay
Yeah, it's
Jones.
a
I'm
good
an ECU
squad.
guy. So hey.
Yeah, and Khan's got a phenomenal mustache. So you got to love that too. I just want to just twist a little bit.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I like Lawrence. I think Lawrence is one of those guys that's proved me wrong a bit.
Yeah.
He came in the league and I thought, like this is just another
That's how
just another
that's how I felt about Tua.
sunshine.
Yeah.
And nah, man, he's been good. And I think what it comes down to is some good coaching. I mean,
Yeah.
Doug Peterson's done a good job with that squad. I think he's done well with Lawrence, and I think Lawrence has some talent. That just goes to show what good coaching can do with a young quarterback.
Yeah. Change the whole
Look at
culture.
Yeah, look at Dable, what Dable's done with Jones and the Giants. I would say Lawrence is a much more talented quarterback than Jones. I'm just saying, look how a good coach can coach a guy up.
Yeah.
So no, I'm a fan of Lawrence. Yeah, huge win for the Jags. Good for them. That's another team kind of like the Lions, where it's like, how do you root against the
Right.
Jags?
Right. In my weird twisted mind, I'm pulling for a Lions Jaguars Super Bowl out here,
Yes, yes. That 15 people will watch.
Yeah, right. Oh man, I don't like people in Detroit and Jacksonville aren't even watching this. Like, all right, well, let's check in with the AFC West a little bit. You got the Chargers beating the Titans slipping a little bit. Raiders beat the Patriots. Broncos beat the Cardinals. Chiefs outlast the Texans. This was the division we thought we were gonna get at the beginning of the year. And finally, in week 16, they all get W's in the same week.
Yeah. Yeah. How about that Raiders game?
Oh, man, what an idiot.
What are you doing? What are you?
Like,
Oh,
because we saw him getting tackled. We were like, all right, overtime. And then he lateraled it. And I was like, all right, a couple more yards. But then Jacoby's like, nah.
yeah. Yeah, that was one of those moments where it was like, did he forget that they're tied? That was what
Well,
like,
he said
because
he
honestly,
said in the interview
yeah,
where he's like, oh, he was like, he lateraled to me. So I thought, oh, we doing this.
yeah, yeah, that's all it was. He thought that the game was on the line there, so he's trying to make a crazy thing happen. But it definitely felt like, Drew, you and I grew up in the same area of the country, and it felt like one of those games on a Saturday on a hot North Carolina summer where your buddies are just like, let's just throw it around and tackle each other. Like that's what it felt
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
It was like,
And
oh, you just scored a touchdown. Should we go inside and eat sandwiches? Yeah.
and no one had less fun than Mr. Mac Jones. He's running
Uh,
back to mom, being like, "They're picking on me."
exactly. They just kept throwing the ball, and then the
I
idiot threw the ball and they scored a touchdown.
I in no way, shape, or form have ever considered myself a Patriots fan and or an Alabama fan. So the cards were stacked against Mac Jones and me coming into this league. But for some reason, that goofy walk at the draft endeared me to him a little bit. And he did okay his rookie year. So I felt a little bit okay about pulling from Mac Jones. But just like early in the season when the camera would cut to Aaron Rodgers, I'm sick and tired of this whining and complaining and yelling. Every time the camera catches this dude's face, he's like, and
You're right.
I kind of felt it warmed my heart a little bit, like the Grinch. My heart grew 3 times seeing Chandler Jones just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I will buy into the idea that the Patriots, for lack of a better phrase, I just think as a culture, they've been too far up their own ass for a while.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's not Brady anymore.
Right.
And Brady, as we've kind of figured out, you love or hate Brady. He obviously was a very big key component to that ball club. Um, did he make that system better? Absolutely. But the system itself didn't make Tom Brady, and that's been very apparent.
And Matt Patricia on the offense, like I still don't understand it.
Oh, did you see him just like, yeah, Mac Jones, he was walking back to the huddle. Patricia's trying to call plays, and he basically,
Yeah,
I
he
mean, he didn't
shushed him.
do it,
He
but
shushed him.
yeah, it was like giving him the bird, like,
Yeah, dude. I think he
get
kept the
out of
team
here.
out too. Like they were gonna punt it, and he's like, no.
No, it's good. Yeah.
Like
Yeah, go
kudos to
grow,
Mac
go grow another
Jones
neck
for
beard, Patricia.
sticking for sticking up for himself. I guess I don't know.
I
Uh,
will say Patricia and Andrew Luck have the most elite neck beards in NFL history.
ugh, ugh.
It's gonna tickle it.
All right, we'll check in with one more division and move on to our next segment. NFC South, man, someone's got to win this division. Bucks lose to the Bengals. Panthers lose to the Steelers. Saints beat the Falcons. I mean, one of them had to win. I was pulling for a tie, I guess. I don't know. But it's a weird that it's. I don't want my team to win this division. I don't want them to win 8 and 9. You know, we had that 7, 8 and 1 season. I don't want that again.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I have no skin in the game here because the Panthers are not my team. But I, I just, I'm done with Tom Brady. Like, I want him to just be done. Like,
I feel like
stop.
our
Like, he
usual
just.
co-host Sean, who is a Bucks fan, might be done with Tom Brady too, but he's
I
more
mean,
upset with the coaching than anything. If I can,
the man was like, I'm playing another year, and his wife's like, well, I'm leaving, and he was like, all right, like that's no, go be with your family, Tom.
yeah,
Stop. This
yeah,
is not even Bruce Arians is like, I'm out of here, Tom. Like, I don't know
yeah,
what's
yeah.
going on. Giselle called me, it's getting awkward. I'm gone. So
Antonio Brown left.
yeah, he's sending
Gronk
out
retired.
snaps. It's not a good time.
Yeah.
Those frozen feet. Um, yeah, I'm so anyway, my point is I'm pulling from Carolina. I think it'd be super cool to see Carolina win this division because it would just be the
Why
most
are you
like
wishing that on them?
basically they're just like, you know what? We don't need our head coach. Also, our good players, get those out of here too.
Yeah,
And then
that's fair. That is fair. That is
yeah,
fair.
I feel like it's Gene Hackman and the replacements. You guys got
Yeah,
Keanu Reeves out there.
yeah. I mean, bearded Darnold's a whole different guy, so I'm enjoying it right now. But I'm okay with it because I'm not sold on any of these quarterbacks in this class. So I'm
Yeah.
perfectly okay with us winning our way out of drafting one of these projects turned top 3 draft picks for some reason. I don't. I was high on Will Levis early on, but he did not end well. I think C.J.
Well,
Stroud's the only okay quarterback in the group. I think Bryce Young. I know we've quarterbacks have defied the odds, but I truly think he's too small and he's going to be injured a lot once he starts getting
well,
popped.
the thing is, Drew, and I'd love to see some statistics on this. How many successful quarterbacks, and obviously you'd have to have a metric for success, but we'll just say successful quarterbacks have come out of the second and the third round
As opposed to the top
over the
five.
exactly like it
Yep.
almost as a Vikings fan it makes me like almost fear what we're going to do in the post Kirk Cousins era because it's
Yeah.
like I don't want us to take an early. I hope we take a guy in the third round and maybe he gets a sit for a year.
Yeah. I want to see what Matt
That's what I'm going
Corral
to be.
still got as a Panthers fan. We drafted him in the third round. Might as well see it
Yeah,
out. I still wish we would have got Sam Howell, but that's a topic for another day.
yeah. So it's just but I get you. I mean, and all kidding aside, Drew, I totally get the logic where you don't want a team that's trying to rebuild continue to win enough games where they
It
become I don't want to
hampers the
say
rebuild.
irrelevant, but yeah, they don't then all of a sudden they don't get a great draft pick and it's like now you're stuck in this perpetual loop of mediocrity.
Yeah.
Um which I mean we talked about the quarterback situation, but boy, wouldn't it be nice to get a top tier O lineman, defensive end, or just somebody that's gonna because those guys do tend to work out well,
I
generally speaking.
truly, truly want us to get like the 6th pick and just take the
Okay.
best player available.
Yeah.
Like play the board. Don't go in there with that much. Like have a game plan, but like we have so many holes in this team. We're playing well. That's why I'm kind of leaning towards bringing Wilkes back because the team has responded to him. And a lot of times, like the Raider, we've talked about it. Me and Sean did last week about how the Raiders messed up chemistry by bringing in a shiny new head coach as opposed to a guy that got the job done. So I'm leaning towards wanting Wilkes to come back, but I want us to start like we're playing well, but we still have so many holes to fill in this team. Like our
Sure.
our our little bit of success is kind of like blinding fans to the fact like no, we're full on rebuild. We need a quarterback of the future. We need all kinds of stuff. This ain't
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I get it. As a Vikings fan, we've been in that spot. I think we're getting a little closer to being back, to
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
honest, in that spot again. So I'm with you. At some point, you need to have a crap season, and that's been kind of the Achilles heel for my squad. Is
You're
they've
always right there.
generally, yeah, they generally have. They're never terrible. It's
Right.
always like either they're good enough where they make a little noise,
You're right
or they're
outside the
just
playoffs.
exactly. And it's a recipe for, again, mediocrity. I'd rather have, to endure a 2-15 season, and then maybe have another year that's a 4-12, and you
Yeah.
slowly kind of build towards it.
The
Yeah,
Panthers had the perfect game plan to this. Bad year, good year. Bad year, good year. Bad year, good year. Have a good year, restock. Good year, restock. Good year. And it worked for us.
yeah,
But now we're having a lot more bad years and not capitalizing. I love that one draft we did all defensive players. We've kept a lot of those guys around. I'm happy with it, but a little miss as of late. You know,
yeah.
let's get into some housekeeping notes, news and notes from around the league. First off, it's the main headline on everything. Jalen Hurts dealing with a sprained right shoulder. Has not been ruled out against Dallas, but might be.
Yeah, man. Obviously that's a huge blow for Philly. I'm trying to take a look, unless right off the top of your head here, who would actually start in place
Minshew,
of.
Gardner Minshew.
Oh,
Yeah, Minshew
really?
magic.
Oh, all right. Minshew Madness is going to come out with that American flag bandana on.
You
Oh,
know he's
yeah.
got the mustache primo and ready to go.
It's got a dip in, just ready to start calling some plays.
Yeah, man. Eagles do get tight end Goddard off of IR, and he could return this week. So that's a
Ooh,
big
that is
boost
big. Yeah,
because
that's
you know
big.
who loves him? Old Gardner Minshew.
Oh, yeah. He loves that check down tight end. You know what I mean? No, I think without Hurts, this has got to be a Cowboys win. I know the Cowboys are going to be coming off of that Jags loss.
Yeah,
Certainly, the Eagles are a good team, but I think Dallas is a pretty good squad, and they're going to be super hungry and certainly looking to get right. So, actually, now that I look about it, it is in Dallas too. So, I mean, that
yeah,
just again,
yeah.
I mean, they're in Jerry
If
World, so
Dak cannot throw a pick, it's so many picks, and he didn't even play the whole year. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
man, I think it's a big game, obviously for Philly. But somebody asked me earlier today. I just keep bringing up the Vikings, and I'm so sorry, Drew. But they asked me, they're like, they heard the Hurts news, and immediately, I get a text, and they're like, "What do you think, man? You think we could still get that 1 seed?" And I'm like, in order for the Vikings to get the 1 seed, the Vikings have to win out, and the Eagles have to lose out. Like
yeah,
that's not gonna
right.
happen. Like
Not feasible.
so, no, I think
Watch it
they
happen
may
now
lose
since you
this
spoke it
weekend.
into existence.
I just think the Eagles may lose this weekend, but at the end of the day, they're also probably looking at the probability of the Vikings winning out, which
Yeah,
isn't
I was
awesome.
about
I
to
mean,
say, don't rush Hurts this week.
yeah,
If you sacrifice a week for the greater good, it is what it
yeah.
is.
I just think they're probably going to look at this game as Dallas, especially on that defensive side of the ball, they get a little chippy. You got Micah Parsons who likes to get physical.
Yeah,
Just I bet they're looking to stay healthy this weekend. And if
yeah.
they lose, they
Don't
lose.
get
I
beat
don't
up.
think they fear the
Don't yeah.
Vikings. So
Don't try to get in a smash ball campaign with the Cowboys.
yeah.
Jets QB Zach Wilson to start again on Thursday night. White still not cleared. He sought out multiple doctors trying to get cleared. He wants to play so bad.
Yeah, you gotta love Mike White and the passion, man. I think Mike White, from what I've heard from some of the analysts I've listened to, and some of the articles I've read, I think he really believes he has the talent to be an
To make it in
NFL
this league.
starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he looks at this like this is my opportunity, and I don't want these games to pass me by because this is the
Yeah.
time for me to showcase. So, gotta love a guy that has all the passion in the world to play the game. Certainly, and the other thing that was nice, and this is the difference between him and Wilson. I watched some of that Detroit Jets game. Mike White was still on the sideline, man. He was cheering. He was getting in there. I mean, like, he was still into the game. He wasn't moping around, texting 45-year-old Cougars. I mean, he was into the game, man. And so at the end of the day, no, I'm a big Mike White fan. I think
Yes.
that
I love
it'd
the
be cool
shirts
to
the
see
team's
him.
been wearing. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, free Mike White. But no, it'd be cool, man. I just would like to see him be able to play. It's too bad that we have to endure another Zach Wilson because he's just the most boring. He reminds me of lactose-free milk. Like, I don't
Uh,
know, it's milk, but it doesn't have the good
doesn't have the
stuff.
bite of milk. You know?
Exactly.
Defending Super Bowl champs Rams mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah, man. As a Vikings fan, it's funny. I just the Packers are like Mike Myers to Vikings fans. Like, he's just every time he
You
goes down,
run
you
and you
think
turn
he's
around, he's
dead.
right there.
He just shows up. He's peeking around a bush, and that's what Aaron Rodgers is to Vikings fans. So no, I was watching that game, and I know it was somebody told me, they're like, well, it makes more sense to want the Rams to win, and I'm like, no, I want the Packers to go 0-17 every year. I don't care. So no,
That's how I feel about the Falcons. So I hear
the Falcons,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it just, it is what it is. It was kind of a boring game, really cold. Looking at Sean McVay. Sean McVay has a higher voice than I thought, by the
You
way.
think
Like that.
what you think? Any chance he brings it back up from last year and retires, or you think he
Oh,
wants to go out higher than this?
you think you're talking about Rodgers?
Nah, McVay. Remember, McVay was. They're talking about McVay's young, but he might retire after the Super Bowl last year.
Really?
Yeah, there were
No.
rumblings of him and Donald riding out into the sunset together.
No, I think McVay's too much of a competitor.
Yeah,
I think he loves to coach. I will say this much. He's been figured out a bit, and I know they've
yeah,
had a ton of injuries and whatnot. So
right.
I will say this: if I'm a Rams fan or I'm a Rams owner, one more year, and I'm not saying he's going to get fired, but I'm just saying that seat's going to get pretty hot if they get into like halfway through next year and they start having a bunch of problems still, because then it starts to go like, okay,
The
is
old
it the
Peterson
system?
effect. He got fired 2 years after the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. So I just think at the end of the day, he'll be around. I do like McVay,
Yeah,
much like Campbell. I love the energy. I love
yeah,
him getting, being able to show a little passion on the sideline. Is it a little cheesy at times? Does it become a little bit of a shtick? I think a little bit,
yeah,
but I do like it. I think he's good for the league. Even though he looks like a guy that probably wore two polo shirts in high school.
yeah. And who's someone who's might barely be 40. I don't know if he's still under 40, but has a ridiculous coaching tree already.
Yeah, our coach, Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, and just to clarify, I didn't mean he only owned two polo shirts. I mean he wore them on top of each other.
the double collar.
The
Uh,
double and popped.
Packers release wide receiver Sammy Watkins, but don't fret, all the Watkins fans out there. Rams scoop him up after they themselves have to put their wide receiver Duvernay on IR with a foot injury.
The Rams picked him up?
The Ravens, my bad.
Oh, the
Ravens. Yeah,
Ravens. The
yeah.
Ravens. Okay.
Ravens.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
I guess we were just talking
Uh
about the Rams. My brain was like, Rams?
yep,
Yeah,
like
no,
like
Baltimore.
a
Baltimore got
Watkins.
Watkins. So I guess he returns, right? Watkins was with them last year or the year before, I feel like.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, look, Sammy Watkins is one of those players that I think a lot of people were high on early in his career. He just couldn't stay healthy. That's all it was. And I
Human
don't know. I
highlight
mean,
reel at Clemson.
I mean, the guy obviously is immensely talented. It's
Yeah.
just, I think it's being able to stay on the field. And then I personally think when you get guys like that, it becomes a situation where they're in that perpetual cycle of new teams, new coaches, new playbook, and they just can never find their footing. So you add that with the injuries, it's not really a recipe for success. I don't care what
Yeah.
the position is.
Yeah. Staying with the Ravens real quick. Head coach Jim Harbaugh voices confidence in his staff, even though fans are angry at offensive coordinator Greg Roman, who's been there forever. Why are you just now mad
Yeah.
at him? He made Trent
I-
Dilfer win a Super Bowl. I don't know if he was there that long ago, but I just anytime we talk Ravens, I love bringing up the fact that Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl.
yeah, well, I remember watching that Super Bowl, and that was okay. What was that? Was that Super Bowl Baltimore and
No, Flacco was
Baltimore?
the 49ers, so
Yeah, it was Baltimore. That Super Bowl. I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up. It
yeah, he's
was.
only been with the Ravens since 2017, so that definitely wasn't a thing.
Oh, I'm looking at this Trent Dilfer Super Bowl right here. Come on, we gotta find it.
2000.
Wasn't
Here we go. Giants. They beat the Giants.
It was the Giants?
Yeah.
What a dumb Super Bowl. Yeah.
What a
Yeah,
yeah.
no, what that I remember that team, a crazy good defense. And that's, what's funny is as a NFL fan, every team that has a year where the defenses play really well or their defense plays well, but the offense is kind of shaky, that's the team everybody points to, or that fan base will be like, well, you remember that year with Dilfer? He could throw for 40 yards and we'd still win games. And yeah, that was
Yeah,
just
because you
such a
had Ray
boring.
Lewis murdering people
Yeah.
on the
Hey,
field and
hey,
off.
hey. Allegedly. Allegedly.
I know, I know.
I'm just kidding. He had a lot of sex.
Yeah. Last housekeeping note, and we will get out of here. Steelers expect quarterback Kenny Pickett back against the Raiders this week.
Yeah, what a barn burner. I'm just happy they didn't put that game on Thursday Night Football. Like that's because if that doesn't that feel like a
That
Thursday
feels
night
like a
game?
Thursday night game. As long as we
Yeah.
don't get another Colts Broncos, I'm okay.
Yeah, I don't know how they're marketing these Thursday Night Football games. They've gotten better, but it definitely
It's just
feels
hard to
like,
flex a
hey,
Thursday night game, so they had to sit
you
in
know,
this. You know,
you know how you like football and you want football in the middle of the week? And you were like, yeah, we do. And then they go, well, we sort of have that for you. Come to
some
Thursday Night
weeks, some
Football.
weeks not.
Yeah, both 6-8. Technically, I think still in the hunt with the
Yeah,
Raiders, right?
not. We love this
Um,
term around here. Not mathematically eliminated yet.
that's right. So you're saying there's a
So
chance.
you're saying we love a good 2% chance. 1%, you're done. Sorry, but two.
Yeah, you're out of here for that. Um, yeah, obviously that's not a great matchup. The Raiders are just such a weird ball club. Actually, let me ask you this, Drew. So with the Raiders, do you because I feel like people are you're either in one of two camps. Josh McDaniels sucks or Derek Carr sucks. Which one is it, Drew?
I'm Team Carr on this. I've never been a McDaniel's fan. I think he's a great offensive coordinator, terrible head coach.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think Carr's got a lot of talent. I think we've seen it in previous years. Love him or hate him.
I think he's a
I
bit
think
of
he's
a Baker Mayfield in that if you hurt his confidence, it takes a lot to get him back.
yeah. Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. And the fact that Josh McDaniels wears a visor, I mean, that's worth at
Instant
least
negative points.
oh, I mean, Vegas puts him down 3 points
The
actually
fact
because of
that
the
we
visor.
still make visors blows my mind.
How about the visors that have like the hair attached to the top?
Why? Just wear a hat.
Exactly.
We're
Yeah,
obviously
I'm
team hat
I'm
here.
with
Like,
you.
what's going on?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Carr is I think Carr's the winner in that for me. That
Yeah,
camp, that
just got to get
discussion.
him more
Josh,
weapons, dude. Like, I know he's got
yeah.
weapons, but it just seems to me to be like now I'm talking myself out. I don't know. Like, it's got to be McDaniel's because look, just they got what they need on offense. Like, yeah, the offensive line could be a lot better, but Jacobs is a great running back. Renfro's a great slot receiver. Waller, if he can stay healthy, is one of the best tight ends in the game. They obviously have the best, arguably the best wide receiver in the game. So it's
Justin
like
Jefferson.
great question because it's got to be one or the other. Either Carr is just severely screwing this up, or McDaniel's don't know how to use this offense.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think that Josh, who was the team? Who was the team that McDaniels was supposed to go to? And then at the ninth hour, he was like, nah. Was it the
Wouldn't it?
Colts?
What? Yeah, I was gonna say it was the Colts or the Chargers. I couldn't remember which one though.
I think
And
it
he was
was the
like, "No, thank
Colts.
you." Yeah, because they
I
hired
think he,
Frank Wright after that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I think they got to I think he got to Indianapolis and he was like, "What is this? A Culver's?" And then he just was like, "No, I'm going back to it. They don't have
going
lobster
to
rolls
Boston.
here."
Where's the
Mm,
Boston Market?
going back.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is my
Boston
favorite.
market.
This is my favorite segment. We do is three and out. Each down, I'll ask you a different question. See how you feel about things. So, Tony, first down. Does the NFC East or the AFC East get more teams in the playoffs?
Ooh. Ooh, that's a great question. All right, so we got NFC East, we've got Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders.
Commanders,
The
which we
Commanders.
still love Washington football team around here. So
That's right. I just every time I hear Commanders, I tend to think of James Cameron, and it's just like, Ron
a,
Rivera's assemble.
a little bit of
Um,
my stoner mind every time I hear the Commanders goes, who? Oh yeah, Washington.
that's right. Oh, and then so the other team was AFC
East. So each
East.
East. Which
Each
East
East.
wins the battle?
I'm gonna go NFC East.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go NFC East only because of a little bit of the weakness that we've seen from the Dolphins and the Pats, and I just think the Jets are a little too young. That's another team I really like.
I
I
like
love
Sauce.
what they're doing on defense. Sauce Gardner is amazing. Love the passion that that kid plays with. He's going to be a star,
Yeah.
but I just think they're a little too young. I think the Patriots,
Some
again, I
might say
mentioned,
need White to be healthy for them to do anything.
that's right. Yeah, get Mike White back. I think the Patriots are just a bunch of turds. I said that already. And Miami, uh, Tua, Tua's gotta get back to what we thought would be elite form. So I'm going NFC East.
I like it. I like it. All right. Second down. More likely to make the playoffs at this point. We're staying in your division here. Packers or Lions? Who's coming down?
Lions.
You think the Lions got more? Because it's only a
Lions.
game. It's only a game separating them.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Lions because Rodgers is a butthole. No, 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 I like the Lions. I just think the Lions are riding high. I think the
Yeah.
Lions have
It's
actually,
all
I know
about
they
momentum.
lost last week, but yeah, they're coming off of some big wins, and it feels like they have a game plan going into every week. Like it feels like they have an identity. That's the
Yeah.
better way to put it.
Yeah.
Whereas the Packers, I know they beat the Rams, but it kind of felt like they just kind of fell into that win. Like I think
Yeah.
that was more of the Rams being such
Sucky.
a shitty team at this point
Yeah.
than it is the Packers being good. So no, I don't see the I could see the Packers losing to forget the Vikings. I could see the Packers losing to Miami and losing to Chicago. And they still have Minnesota. So I think
Yeah.
it's
What
Detroit.
a
And again,
This is a
I'm
huge
pulling
week
for
for
them.
them. Huge week for
Yeah.
them if they can win this game. All right, great, great. I mean, I was hoping you were going to say the Lions. Um, third down, you got a team around you, minus a quarterback. And you want to bring in a veteran to see if you can go on a Super Bowl run. So you got 1 year contract, and unfortunately, you decided to do this too late in the game. So a lot of the free agents are scooped up. So you got to go 1 year Super Bowl run with a quarterback. You going Matt Ryan or Carson Wentz?
Ooh, that is a tough question, but as I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty decisive in my answer.
Some might call
I'm
this
going
the
Carson.
Colts conundrum.
I'm going Carson Wentz, and not because I hate Matt Ryan. It's just in this league today, you have to be mobile.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest issues with Ryan is he's just got cinder blocks for feet, dude. The guy looks like he's trudging through mud. And so um not only that, his legs look like they're thinner now. And I feel like those knees are just going to snap. But
Yeah.
no, and I'm not a Wentz lover. I just feel like you might be able to hide some of the Wentz issues schematically. If
Yeah.
you've got a great run game, if you've got a good offensive line, you do a lot of motion, you maybe get him out of the pocket a little bit, try to manage some of the errant throws, but ultimately he could be, I think, a better game manager than a Matt Ryan who again just can't leave the pocket. So
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
going
picking
Wentz.
I'm going Wentz too, so I can bring in Taylor Henneke and take his job.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. I do love me some Heineke. Heineke's
Yeah,
like a
dude.
more successful Minshew.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish he was. I know I don't want to hold him back because I love what he's doing with Washington, but I still wish he was a Panthers backup for sure.
Oh, for sure.
All right. Fourth down. I'm going for it. Last down. Since I got you on the podcast, I got to ask, in your heart of hearts, in your third eye, ultimately, how far do your Minnesota Vikings go this year?
Ooh, great question, Drew. I think I answered that so professionally, didn't I? That
Yeah,
was a wonderful
great
question.
question. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Harrison, what a fantastic question. I I really think this is going to be, I will explain, it's a little bit of a cop out answer. It really just depends on who we play. I
Yeah,
think if we catch the Commanders, I think we can win that game. I think if we can catch the Lions, even though they beat us, I think that's a winnable game because it would be at home, and the Vikings aren't a bad team.
yeah,
Boy, I think if you catch a healthy Philly team, I think that's going to be tough.
yeah.
Our defense is just so bad, Drew. So I think the ceiling. I mean, our defense is so bad, Drew. It's like, have you ever gotten home and you're super excited to eat your KFC and you set it on like some napkins and then you pick up the chicken and you can see the table cover under it, right? Yeah, that's how good our defense is. It's about as good
Paper
as the
thin.
it's a wet napkin.
Yeah,
So the deal is that we just have to hope we go up against a team that has some inefficiencies on offense. And then our offense is good enough because we've got a lot of talent on
outscore
the
them.
offensive side that we just kind of outscore the other
I
team.
would, I would love to see a Minnesota Philadelphia just shoot out.
Oh, and I would love it if we beat them because, I mean, for obvious reasons, but boy, it still stings from that 17 season, that magical season with Keenum and the Minneapolis Miracle. And then we go there. The Super Bowl was in Minneapolis, and we were
You could have
one
been the
game
first
away.
team to play at home.
They just trounce us. Of course, we were riding high. We were doing the skull chant out on the
Yeah.
stupid steps where Rocky was, and then they started throwing batteries at us.
Mm.
Um, anyway,
You guys
they
love each
did.
other, is what you're saying.
They did.
You
They
have a
were
nice
D
admiration for
batteries.
each other. Oh God,
I'm
they
just
threw the
kidding.
D's at
I'm just kidding. I think they were double A's.
you. Oh, slightly smaller.
Yeah. What are these, D's or C's? Well, they're just the C batteries.
All
I
we could
couldn't
find
find
is
my
watch
boom
batteries.
box for the D's. Um, no, yeah. So I guess the real answer to that question, Drew, is that depending on the team we face, we could see a first round exit. If we get the right matchup, I could see us getting into the divisional round. And I don't know. I could see us. I think the ceiling is probably the NFC Championship game. At that point, you're facing a great team, and I just don't think we can do it. If we
Yeah,
make it that far, I'm going to be crazy
yeah.
happy.
It'd be brutal to have to play the 49ers and Eagles back to back weeks.
Oh, yeah. Purdy time,
Yeah,
you feeling Purdy? Have they started doing that yet? Have you heard any grumblings about
I
you
hadn't seen it.
feeling Purdy? And
I'm
maybe
sure
that's
they are
just
in San
me.
Francisco. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, because why I asked the question is because that's what I do when I go into the bedroom for my wife. I do this
Do the
feeling
pretty
Purdy
dance
thing,
for her?
and I trademarked it. So I'm going to
Okay.
sue if they start doing
Ah,
it.
okay. I'll keep an ear out for
Hmm.
you.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a husky little dance I do.
well, Tony, guest gets to go first. So, which matchup are you intrigued by this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna be a homer this week. I am gonna go with the Vikings Giants game. Obviously,
It's
Vikings
got
playing
playoff implications.
many playoff implications. And the thing is about this game too is the Giants really need to win this game because they need to stay in the hunt. Obviously, they got the big win on Sunday night. Was the Sunday night game? Wasn't it Sunday night? Was the Giants game,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Great game.
Uh, so big win for the Giants. The Giants just seem like a team that we talked about identity. I think they're in that same boat of I think they've lost their identity a little bit. Um, Things started to not go well. They started trying to get cute. Once they started to stack up some losses, that didn't work. And now I think they're finally getting back to what worked originally. So
Which is
I'll be
Barkley.
honest, as a Vikings fan, I'm a little worried. I think Saquon's a good running back. I'm worried about their D line. I mean, boy, I don't know if you watched Thibodeau just wreck the Sunday Night Football game. Um, so I'm a little worried about Kirk Cousins and if he's going to have still have a torso after the game on Sunday. So we'll see, man. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Currently, line on this game is the Vikings are picked by 3.5. Again, it's at home. Over unders at 48. Of course, in true Vikings defense fashion, Daniel Jones, I'm sure, will look like Brett Favre. He'll
The
he'll go for
gunslinger Daniel Jones.
112 yards rushing and throw for 280
As
yards
long
on
as he
top of it.
falls on himself running to the end zone again. That's all I care
Oh,
about. I love
that'd be
that
great.
play. That was great.
I love it.
He just
Yeah, the best part was just nobody's around him.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Who had a more disappointing season? Kenny Galladay or Carson Wentz?
Whew. Boy, I would say Galladay because at least from my perspective, I didn't expect Wentz to really do much, but
That's
I thought
the
Galladay
bar
actually
was
was
so
like
low.
it was. Yeah, it was like, oh, he didn't do anything. Well,
Yeah.
but Galladay, I felt like ever since he was in Detroit, obviously he was drafted by Detroit. I was like, this guy's got some talent, man. And I get he hasn't had the best quarterback play, and that's a big factor. But I mean, at the
Something.
end of the day,
Slayton's done
something.
all right.
Yeah, and you look at I just go back to I mean, look at guys that have done well with crappy quarterbacks. I mean, you had um I'm thinking of my own team. Diggs had to endure years with Teddy Bridgewater. I'm a big Teddy guy, but Teddy's just not
He's not a
he's
he's
just
not
not
a
like a down the
Slinger.
field thrower.
Yeah.
Exactly, So if you've got talent, you'll make it work. And
Yeah.
I just think he might be done. He kind of reminds me of in a way, and I get it's different because there was drugs involved. But a little bit like almost Gordon in a way where it was like this guy's got a ton of talent, and then what happened? I don't know,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's a motivation thing or who knows.
Oh, what was that Jaguars wide receiver back in the day that we thought was going to be the
Blackman,
next? Yeah, we thought he was going to be the next Michael Irvin.
yeah, and then he just kept
Ah,
drinking and driving.
yeah, yeah,
Wasn't that what it was?
yeah. Because he got arrested,
Yeah,
and the Jaguars, like for like the fifth time, the Jaguars like, we're done, dude.
yeah, dude, come on, just call an Uber. Like,
Wow,
and
that
I
Oklahoma
don't think they
State
had
team,
Uber
man.
back then. They didn't have Uber back then, did they?
Yeah.
That they had to
Mm-mm.
just call a friend, phone a friend.
You
Hey, we were in
hire a
North Carolina.
driver.
Yeah, I would have gone and
Hire
picked
a
him up.
driver. Right? Come
Yeah,
on.
I would have picked him up in my Daewoo
My matchup of the week also has playoff implications. We're staying in the NFC. Sorry, AFC. We talk about you enough. Okay, it's NFC's time. My matchup of the week: Washington football team. I'm not saying the Commanders at San Francisco 49ers. Could also be in a weird twist if some things go the right way. A first round matchup that we get to see here in week 16. Playoff spots on the line. 49ers seem good in the West. I don't really see the Seahawks bouncing back and taking them out. Washington needs to fight off the Lions and the Packers and said Seahawks after losing to the Giants. Little more on shaky ground. And I just the Commanders, if anything, have a pretty good defense. And this 49ers team has just been blowing through pretty good defenses. So I'm intrigued to see who breaks this week.
Yeah, and ultimately that matchup is really just going to be dependent on, again, what are they doing at the quarterback position? Can Purdy continue to be this guy that just came out of
Aren't we so
nowhere?
cynical though? Like just from past and like our NFL brain, we're just waiting
Yeah.
for him to fail.
Oh, for sure.
Like
Think
I
about
feel
this,
bad.
Drew. Drew, I think about this regularly, and it makes me feel like a bad person. So imagine we had people that talked about us like we talk about these NFL players,
Oh
where they're
yeah,
like,
dude.
look at this guy, Tony, man. He just comes out of nowhere. Just give it a few weeks, man. He's going to be terrible. And then just hearing that every week.
Can't
And
watch Sports Center. One of my favorite things to do in the world is to watch Sports Center. And I don't know. I don't think I could watch it if I like like because if my team loses, I have like a 24-hour like blackout period for
yeah,
Sports Center. So like I couldn't imagine like if I ever made the not top 10, I would be heartbroken.
yeah. Look at Drew. This joke just did not land.
Look at the fumble
I feel
delivery.
like if he's got a few more shows that don't go his way, he may be on the trading block. And then you're just thinking to myself, like, babe, we might have to move. Like, I don't know.
I gotta change scenes. This is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, what I'm saying is, don't ever get married. No, no. It is crazy though how we talk about these guys, and we know what everybody makes too. Like that's the other thing. Look at this guy; he's playing like crap. And what is he making?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Imagine if you just dig into our finances like
Yeah.
that. Look at this guy.
That's why I love all the players that are like, I don't care about your fantasy teams, man. Like, be
Yeah,
mad at me. I don't care.
yeah, yeah. I don't care. I can't blame him. But you know what? We're fans. This is what we do, and it's fun, and it really is all in good fun. At the end of the
Right, right,
day,
right.
these guys have a job to do, and
We
we get
still
it. But
love them.
yeah, but still, Purdy, if you don't get your shit together, you're out of the league.
I think he'll be just fine. I think he'll
I think
be
he's going to
just
be fine.
great system. It works for him. He's in good hands with Shanahan. I think he's
And
gonna
he's
be
not
fine.
expected to do much.
And I
You
feel
know,
like he's doing not much, way better than Jimmy Garoppolo was doing not much.
Yeah. And that's not a slight against Purdy. Don't get me wrong. I just mean if you've got a guy that has talent with talent around him, you don't need him to do much because you can let the playmakers do what they do.
Right.
So,
How
you
I
know,
mean, how many like you're seeing it with Dak and Dallas? They're just asking him to do too much, and he's turning the ball over. Same with Matt Ryan in Indianapolis when Taylor had a wash of a season. I feel like so you
yeah,
ask talented quarterbacks to do too much, you overextend them, you get turnovers.
agreed.
All right. Well, at least I don't have to look Shawn in the face this week while we make locks because I'm not going to lie to you, Tony. I'm not doing good this year because the chaos that is this NFL season. You think you got a team figured out, and then they blow out a team that's on a 5-game win streak. This season's been chaos. So I've found that when I make my picks for locks, the crazier I get with them, the little bit more of success I get.
I like it.
Like
I like it.
I pick the low hanging fruit, and that team loses, and it devastates me.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, look, you got to switch it up every once in a while.
Like just last, we always pick a winner and we always pick a loser. Last week, Shawn went 2-0. He picked the Bengals to beat the Bucks. He picked the Panthers to lose to the Steelers. And I went 1-1 again. Lions beat the Jets for me, but then the Giants did not lose to Washington. I was pulling for Heineke in
Ooh.
Washington. I thought they were going to beat the Giants. Did not happen. So this week we're not counting records. We're having an exhibition between me and you. But I'm currently sitting 15-15, while Shawn
Ooh.
is crushing me 21-8-1.
Ooh.
Yeah. So just
Oh
to give you
boy.
some context with how my picks have gone this year.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is, Drew, you get a high draft pick next year.
There we go. Look at that. But Tony, who do you guarantee? We'll start with the losers this week. Who is losing for sure this week?
I'm gonna go loser this week. Loser this week's got to be Chicago. I get that it's in Chicago, but they're playing Buffalo. Buffalo still has a lot to play for. You talked about the AFC or that division with Buffalo and Miami. They've got to continue to play well. So I see them rolling. I think Chicago doesn't stand a chance. I like what they're doing in Chicago.
Yeah.
I just think that it's too big of a matchup.
Does it help at all if Fields plays? Like, to
No,
change your mind at all? Okay. Yeah, no.
no, it does not change my.
With
They
or
might just
without him.
lose by a little less.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I got the This breaks my heart to say, but I got the Panthers losing to the Lions this week. I feel like I'm
Yeah,
cheating on them a little bit, but it is what it is, guys. I'm sorry.
it's okay. Your secret's safe with me.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. And plus, I mean, the Lions have something to prove this year. We got nothing. Get that draft pick. Who you got winning this week?
So I've got, and this is gonna feel like I'm being such a homer here. No, I'm not gonna pick the Vikings, but I'm gonna take the next team that you think I would take as a Vikings fan. I'm taking the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are gonna beat the Packers. Again, they're in Miami. We talked about the fact that Green Bay just doesn't have an identity right now. And I just that offense is not clicking. As
Yeah,
bad as the Rams are, like that team should have you saw it last night. I mean, there were so many opportunities where it felt like if it were the old Packers, they would have just demolished that team.
yeah.
And it just I don't know.
The
Rodgers is getting
Dolphins, yeah,
older. I don't think the coaching is as good as it should be. So no, I have Miami winning that game.
yeah. And then, I mean, I feel like if the Dolphins can stop the run, then Green Bay's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. And Dylan's hurt.
Yeah,
So, and not that Aaron Jones is bad, but it helps when they have that 1-2 back, you know, or 1-2 punch, if you will.
yeah. Definitely can't lean on him harder. He'll be joining Dylan in the blue tent.
Yeah.
Uh, I got the Thursday night game. I'm going Jags beat the Jets. I'm full on
Ooh.
with the Jags. I don't trust Zach Wilson. I do trust Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes. I
Yeah.
want to see Zay Jones go off. I want to see Kurt get some catches. Let's run it up against the good Jets. But we get that a rising Jets secondary with some studs with Garner and May back there against
Yeah.
a fun wide receiving core with the Jags. So I'm excited about these matchups, even like the personal in the trenches matchups. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. It should be good. It should be a lot of fun. I like the pick there. Wilson makes all the difference. Again, if you look
I
at
would be way less inclined to make this pick if White's playing this week. That's for
yeah,
sure.
I did look while we were just chatting here. I looked at the Madden rankings. You know how they do Madden
Mhm.
rankings. I looked and I did confirm for Wilson 0% lactose. So I don't know if he did get a zero in the lactose column. Yes.
Love it. Love it. Oh, Tony, thank you so much for joining us this week, stepping in for our buddy Shawn on vacation with his family. Where all can they find you in your Vikings podcast?
Yeah, man. So you can find us on all the socials. So it's Skull Purple Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, maybe on a flyer on a windshield somewhere. That's a possibility.
I like the marketing
Um,
scheme here.
exactly. We just throw them into the wind to see what happens.
That's what I'm saying. I
Um,
pick random addresses and mail them stickers. That's what I do.
oh, perfect. I
Yeah.
just rent a helicopter and just start throwing out swag. Yeah.
I take out a
And
week.
coins too.
I take a week out of to Myrtle Beach and fly the planes with the messages behind them. That's how we get
Oh,
most of
yeah.
our followers.
Exactly. And but yes, Steggy, I co-host on the show. I run the social media on that particular podcast. For myself personally, of course, I'm on all the socials as well. Tony Stegeman, find me on Twitter.
Check out his
TikTok,
TikTok. So funny. So funny. You will
yeah.
not be
The
upset at
TikTok,
yourself.
we have a lot of fun on TikTok. It's Steggy Stories on TikTok. So yeah, lots of fun there. I do go live every once in a while. I've been known to have a few adult beverages and go live for hours on end playing Madden football
Yeah.
on TikTok.
I know we
So
got some Madden fans listening, so definitely find them out.
yeah, yeah, come on, let's do it. But no, thanks again. I really appreciate it, Drew. It was
Of
great being
course,
on the
man.
show.
Yeah, dude.
And hopefully I'll be able to do it again with you sometime.
Sounds great, man. And as always, here with Nickel and Dime, follow us on Twitter at nickel_dime FB and on Instagram at nickel_dime football. You can find me personally on Instagram at Laugh with Harrison. And most importantly, we're getting to the nitty gritty of the season. Hit that subscribe button, get locked in. Let Nickel and Dime finish the season with you. We'll see you next week.